This is exactly my budget formula that I use to pay off all my debts on time. I use the 5-3-2. It's what really works for me. And let me just start by telling you how and where I really get my loans. Maybe that's when you will really understand why I chose this exact formula. So I have three places where I get my debts, and that's the first one is mobile loans. This one for people in advanced countries, they can is the same as credit cards. For us here, we don't have credit cards, so we have debit cards, but we get quick loans. Like if maybe someone has an urgent thing that they want to purchase or a problem or a challenge. Mainly for students, we always use the mobile loans and we call them the quick loans. But they have their own challenges, as I will just be talking about them in full. And then the other is a bank, but personally, I've never gone to a bank directly, walked in a bank maybe to get a loan. But some are just like banks or circles. Banks. That's where we get the second form of loans. And then thirdly is friends. Friends and family. So these are my three sources of loans that I get. Previously, in my previous videos, I've been talking about my exact budget formula, and I used the 541 formation or the 541 formula, where the 5 or the 50% I use it to pay of like to clear my bills and buy everything that I need. Then the 4 I use it for to invest in my knowledge and skills, like to grow my knowledge and skills, everything that is regarding that. Then the 1% is where I invest in physical assets or stocks or treasury bills, unit trusts, all those things. What I save and invest in whatever I do or use, even including business at the same time. So now for the 50%, this is where I break up down some portion to pay off my debts. So out of 50, I can say that 10% of this, sorry, 10% of the 50% is what I divided into this. So we have the 5, 3, 2 to make a total of 10. The 10% of the 50%. So let's start with the 5 of this. 5, this one I use it to pay off my mobile loans or the credit card loans for someone who is in an area where they use credit cards. And so the reason that's why I allocate like the 5% for this is that these ones they come with a very high interest rates. In where I get from, like the interest that comes with this is 2% per day. That means if you got a loan of 10k or 100k, let me see, it will have an interest by end of the week. The interest will be almost clocking to double the amount that you got from there. By end of 2 weeks, you would have already doubled the amount. So it comes with a very high rate of interest. And to be honest, like personally, I don't really pay off my debts at once, just as I get the advice from that financial gurus talk about it that maybe if you will need to pay off all your debts or all your loans at the same time. But I find that formula doesn't really work out for me because when I pay back or I pay off all my debts at once using the income that I have, that means I won't be having any other money for the daily use to pay off my bills, pay my rent, pay all the things that I really need. That means I will end up like going back still to get the loans. So to avoid that, I just allocate some significant amount of money to pay off my loans, and then later on, like slowly like that, that's when I end up paying my debts and never need maybe a debt immediately again. Maybe with the time when I'm really so stuck, that's when I get another loan. And then the 3%, okay, sorry, not the 3%, but 3/10. Then this one 3/10, 5/10, sorry. Then this one is 2/10. So 3/10, this one I use it to pay off debts with the interest of maybe 5 to 10%. Those are the loans I get from circles or banks and circles. Even from my class, we have a, can I say, class credit circle whereby if you have maybe you're stuck in a problem, we pull money somewhere and then they be paying you off. Of course, those are so good when you want to take off loans, not necessarily when you're saving for something good or you take it as business or you take it as a passive income measure. Not really. So I use it for necessarily that, just in case I want some loans because they give us at this interest rate. It's not too bad compared to the quick loans where the interest is 2% per day, right? And so thirdly is family and friends. So this one, someone would say that, hey, you're putting family and friends paying back their loans as last option or the least allocated amount of money onto that. But because I know they are patient enough and they will be patient enough on me. So unlike these others, not that I won't pay back the loan, yeah, I pay back, but at a very lower rate. So this one, because most of the times, most of the loans I get, they have no interest here. So 0% interest. I pay back if I told maybe I received 100K, that's what I will pay back. If I had 20, I'll pay back that exactly. So I don't really need to have lots of money allocated here, yet there is more money accumulating the other side in debt. So that's how I really use and that's how I really come up to this point of the budget plan. So my question for this is, how do you find it like when you're paying back your loans? How do you get, like, is it so easier for you to pay back your loans? Because most of the friends that I have, they really at times paying back that this is so hard, complex, even when they really have money. But I feel like maybe, can I say, they don't have the exact formula to pay back their loans in bits, other than they always hope that I will pay back my debt at once. Like when I get the money, I'll clear all my loans at the last or at the deadline, which is something very dangerous, as I could see. So, thank you for watching this point and see you next time in the next videos. Bye.